In the world of data, there's this constant tug of war, right? The business side, they want insights yesterday. But you and your data team, you know that moving too fast can just break everything. It can totally shatter trust. So how do you actually win this thing?
And that right there, that's the million-dollar question for any modern data team. How do you possibly speed up your delivery to keep up with what the business needs without sacrificing the quality and the stability that builds trust? It's like walking a tightrope, and one little misstep can have some pretty serious consequences.
And let's be real, this isn't just a small-time game. The stakes are incredibly high. We're talking about the success of your whole company hanging in the balance, all depending on the speed, the stability, and of course, the quality of the data you're delivering. And this challenge, it's everywhere. I'm talking about your data engineers, your analysts, your IT bosses. Every single person is feeling that heat to just go faster, faster, faster. But you know that every time you push something out, there's a risk. You might take down a critical pipeline. Or even worse, you could completely destroy the business's trust in the very data they need to make those big calls. So how in the world do you navigate this tricky landscape? Well, think of DORA metrics as your own personal GPS. They give you this clear, standard way to measure how you're doing and guide you to that sweet spot, a place where speed and stability aren't enemies, but are actually two sides of the same high-performing coin. Okay, so what are these things, really? DORA metrics, they're basically a set of 4 key metrics that originally came from the world of DevOps, but now they're pretty much the gold standard for measuring how well teams are building, testing, and delivering software and data systems. Think of it like a vital health check for your entire data operation. All right, so here are the big 4. We've got deployment frequency, lead time for changes, mean time to restore, and change failure rate. And we're going to break them down into 2 simple buckets. The first 2, they're all about speed. And the last 2, all about stability. All right, let's dive into speed first. Because here's the thing. Elite teams don't just move fast, they move fast in a way that's sustainable. And these first 2 metrics, they show us exactly how that's even possible. So deployment frequency. This one's pretty simple. It measures how often you're successfully pushing releases into production. Are we talking once a quarter? Or are you pushing out changes multiple times a day? Then you've got lead time for changes. This one measures how long it takes for a change, once it's committed, to actually make it into production. This is your total cycle time, from the spark of an idea to it being live and real. Okay, so how do you crank up that deployment frequency without, blowing things up? The secret sauce really is automation. Just imagine this. Every single time you make a change, a whole suite of regression and performance tests run automatically. By building this automated safety net right into your CI/CD pipeline, you can get incredible test coverage, and that gives you the confidence to ship updates way more often because you haven't accidentally broken something important. And let me be super clear here. This isn't just some tech for tech's sake achievement. This has a real direct impact on the business. It means your analytics teams can finally keep up with the crazy pace of the business. When someone says, "Hey, I need a new metric on this dashboard," it doesn't become a month-long project. It gets done fast, and that keeps your insights fresh and relevant. Okay, what about that lead time? How do we shrink that? Well, here it's all about hunting down and eliminating bottlenecks. Think about it. With no-code tools, the analysts, the folks who actually understand the business logic inside and out, they can build and own the quality checks themselves. You don't have to wait for a developer. This lets you validate data not just at the very end of the line, but all along its journey, from the source system all the way to the dashboard. And don't even get me started on data privacy. By generating safe synthetic test data, you can completely sidestep those long, painful delays of getting approvals to use sensitive production data. At the end of the day, what this all boils down to is responsiveness. A shorter lead time just means your whole organization is more agile. You can react to market shifts, new business needs, stakeholder whims, whatever it is, in a fraction of the time. And that is a huge competitive advantage. All right, so we've got the go faster part down. But let's be honest, speed without stability, that's just a recipe for creating chaos, but faster. So let's flip the coin and talk about the other side, making sure everything is stable, building that trust, and ensuring quality. So our 2 big stability metrics here are mean time to restore, or MTTR. That's how fast you can recover when something inevitably goes wrong. And then there's change failure rate, or CFR. This one tracks what percentage of your deployments actually cause a failure in production. And the goal is simple, right? Keep your MTTR super low and your CFR even lower. Ideally, 0. Look, when a failure happens, that clock starts ticking immediately. To crush that recovery time, you need to be proactive. You need monitoring that uses things like machine learning to spot weird anomalies before your users start calling. And when something does break, having the ability to just instantly compare data snapshots from before and after means you're not digging for a needle in a haystack anymore. It's like the system hands you a giant magnet and tells you exactly where the problem is. And this is a perfect example of why MTTR is just so critical. Recovering quickly isn't just about getting the system back online. It's about maintaining the trust of your executives. If that C-level dashboard goes down, fixing it fast means big decisions aren't put on hold and you're not violating any of those SLAs you've promised. But of course, the absolute best way to have a fast recovery time is to just not have failures to begin with, right? And that means you need really solid pre-deployment testing. I'm talking about things like visual comparisons that can catch the tiniest little inconsistencies, like a chart that's suddenly the wrong color, or a logo that's shifted 2 pixels to the left, and it catches it before you hit that deploy button. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. Let me give you a real-world example of the kind of impact we're talking about. We had a client who was able to take a huge 5-person-month testing effort and shrink it down to just a couple of days. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. That is a staggering cost saving, a massive boost for quality, and it directly slashes the risk of pushing a failed change to production. Okay, so we've looked at how you can boost both your speed and your stability. But what's the bottom line? What does this all add up to? Let's talk about the real-world ROI. So, clients have seen a 2x return on their investment. And that's not magic money. It comes from very real things, like slashing the hours spent on manual testing, cutting QA costs, and fixing problems faster, which means less disruption to the business. And if you look to the future, the potential is even bigger. The analyst firm Gartner, they're projecting a jaw-dropping 10x productivity boost for DataOps teams who really get on board with these kinds of automated tools by 2026. I mean, that's not just a small improvement. That is a fundamental game changer for how data teams operate. So let's wrap this all up and put it together in one place. What you can see here is that this is really a virtuous cycle. When you get a higher deployment frequency because of automation, that leads to faster test cycles. And when you have faster cycles and better testing, well, that means fewer failures and less downtime. It's a super clear line you can draw from these specific tools and capabilities right to real, tangible business value. And you know what? This whole idea of automating the entire data pipeline, it's exactly what the industry experts are talking about. Actually, Gartner has pointed to this exact approach as being critical, and they've highlighted just how important specialized tools for test automation really are. So, I'm going to leave you with this one final thought. The answers your business is desperately looking for, they're already sitting there, right in your data. The only real question is this: have you built an operation that's fast enough and stable enough to finally go in and unlock them? Thanks so much for watching.
For further questions, feel free to reach contact@datagaps.com. Scan the below QR code for free demo. Thank you.